And the improved production HQs and Commodore Cup are about to come out to the circuit, and a guy who knows all about these guys, in fact he's raced alongside him, is Cameron Vanendungen down in the pits.
Yeah, putting me under a bit of pressure there, but on the front row of this grid you can see behind me 808 wagons from Mazda. We've got Datsuns in this grid, we've got Commodores. You also mentioned before Commodore Cup. Well, Matt Nolte, I can tell you Lee Holdsworth's father Glenn will be running in Commodore Cup spec. He's a little bit further down the grid as well, and great to see a huge field of HQs. These are great racing. They're always part of the show here in Darwin. Lots of variety and very fast racing. And hear that beautiful rotor of Adam Ubergang right behind me, about to roll out on track. He's one of our Queensland entries. You normally would know him from Aussie Racing Cars, but the Ubergang family very famous in Queensland and this part of the world as we go green out here and head them out for race number 2. Matt Nolte, I love the sound of a rotor.
I noticed he was standing next to that car, hoping maybe for a drive in there. Cameron Vanendungen down in the pits, a guy that races an RX-7 down in Victoria during the days, but watching on from pit lane. And Warren Luff has joined me for this race here. It's a bit of an all-in for the Motorsports NT categories up here, but the guy out in front in car 63, man, he's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, look, it certainly is. There's sort of something out there for everyone in this field, and pretty much every HQ taxi from the 1970s has found its way up here to the top end, and they're out there in this race as well. But look, like you said, race 1 was super tight at the front of the field there. It was the Mazda 808 sort of shootout there, really close at the start-finish line. Obviously, Adam Ubergang got the win in race 1. Race 2, these guys are out to sort of play hardball.
You wouldn't see this racing too much around Australia, but I can tell you in about 2 or 3 laps' time, the front guys like Ubergang, Tim Playford, Barry Smith and the like will be lapping the HQ, so it gets very busy very quickly in this race.
It certainly does, and it's something that we've seen in the past here with these guys, and it's kind of like a bit reminiscent of the V8 Enduros. Once you get into the traffic, its traffic management really does come into play because the closing speed is quite high, but those guys down the back of the pack, they're in their own race as well.
There's the front row, Ubergang and Playford, Smith and Stoopman, who's been around for a long, long time. Simon Bullash and Bryce Forward. We've seen the Dunlop Super 2 Series back in a Commodore Cup car. Dylan Baker will start off row number 6 down to Ebony Coates. Brent Osborne down to McLeod and Graham Craig starting out at 20th. And we start to get back towards some of the HQs. Joel Heinrich is in the field. Stephen Ling, Gavin Thompson, who's been a class winner for HQ so many years. Gary Pendlebury is in the field as well, down to Jeff Cowie and Stav Mostras, starting from a 36-car grid.
That's huge. And as you mentioned before, Glenn Holdsworth, Lee's father, starting on the 8th row there. It's kind of going back to the grassroots for this family because Lee and his brother both started out in Commodore Cup, and this is kind of like a bit of an annual pilgrimage for Glenn to come up and race up here. So look for Lee Holdsworth hanging out over the pit wall there, cheering his dad on.
And while these cars are still on the other side of the circuit, we've still got cars leaving the pits right now to join the back of the field. So they raced earlier today. They got this race and then another race tomorrow morning as part of the Crown Bet Darwin Triple Crown. A regular fixture at this great event.
It certainly is, and one of the things that these local guys find is that they almost reset their lap records when they come to the V8 round here because there's so much more rubber goes down. Obviously the quality Dunlop tyres that we run in the V8 supercars, it really gives the track so much more grip. So for these guys, they end up going a lot faster than what they normally do at their regular club meets because obviously there's so much more action going on track. So even down to the car setup and that they run at this particular race differs from their other events throughout the year.
So there is Ubergang right-hand side. We've seen him in the Aussie racing car. Tim Playford. These guys are coming to the grid, and our last 3 or 4 cars are just heading down to turn number 6. So Ubergang will want to slow this field down, otherwise that car is going to get really hot.
It certainly is a problem for these guys because obviously the ambient temperatures are, well, for us southern state people, we find it quite sort of hot up here. For the locals, they think this is winter. But as you said, to be able to sit there on the grid for as long as what they're going to, those engine temps are going to start to come up. And the one thing that we do know about the rotary engines, they obviously do start to lose a bit of performance the hotter they get. So these guys will want to get going. As you said, Adam Ubergang's doing a great job of trying to slow the field down coming up to the grid. His team will be telling him that the other cars are only just coming over to the back section now.
We had a race here last year that was red flagged straight away with a massive start line crash that wiped out 2 or 3 cars. It was a serious fire that was part of that too, and those cars were repaired and back in the field. Ebony Coates is one of the cars that's out there too. She'll start down from position number 16 behind young Jake Burgess, who moves up into a Commodore Cup car for this year.
It's certainly a full grid out there when you look at it from that angle.
It's fantastic. HQ's towards the back of the field there. Gavin Thompson, who I marked before, has won that class on several occasions, was complaining about straight line speed. I changed tyres, he said this morning, and went slower. Don't know how that works.
The drag race off the start down to turn 1 is going to be so critical here. It's sort of, it's fitting because we've got the drag strip right next door.
There is Lee Holdsworth's dad right there, the TPS group, number 40, the VH Commodore down there. The Commodore Cup very strong back in the mid to late 90s. A couple of cars not taking their positions here right now. The improved production Commodore Cup and HQs as part of the 20th anniversary Crown Bet Darwin Triple Crown. Expect these two Mazda 808s to just disappear into the distance until we heat the traffic at the back of the field here. A couple of laps in, waiting for the lights to go out here today. Smith on this second row there too in that mobile livery, if you will, going back to the 90s. Another guy that's fast up in this part of the world. Revs rise. Red lights are on, ready for a start. Ubergang and Playford. Ubergang lots of wheel spin. A car stalled on the second row. And hopefully everybody will get around this double wave yellows along the whole of pit straight. As the 12 of Stoopman, who we've seen in HQs, just gets away and almost gets clipped in the process. That was certainly great vision by everyone else there to be able to sort of clear him there. Great defensive driving by everyone. He would have been had his heart in his mouth at that point. Scary moment for him, nonetheless. The 78, the right air Darwin entry of Tim Playford has got the lead, so Ubergang will have a bit of work to do here. They take Smith and the rest of the field, including Bryce Forward, who runs back in 4th position. Down to turn 5 here on lap number 1, and Playford's going to make him go the hard way around here. It's a long way to go around the outside there. Playford was good on the way into turn 5 there. He made him work for it hard. He's probably been a little bit too kind in letting him run the outside there. This could actually give Adam Ubergang the run down into turn 6. Oh, Lescott going off the track down there at the exit, almost fishtails his way back onto the circuit in front of one of the Commodore Cup cars. But Playford, solid job at the moment, but you just know Ubergang is going to push him the whole race here. It certainly is, and obviously these guys are lining themselves up for a run onto the front straight. This is going to be a case of who's got the most horsepower. It's the second longest straight of any circuit we've got here in Australia, only surpassed by, obviously, the legendary Mount Panorama. So Ubergang's going to sit in the tow here, but Playford's certainly not lacking in some straight line handling. So one lap in the box already. Playford from Ubergang, Smith, Forward and Salmon, your top 5. As down to turn 1 they go. And look at the margin they've got already. Down to turn 1, Ubergang from a long way back. Puts it down the inside. Playford giving him enough room here though. Ubergang's going to try and sort of push him wide here. See if he can square it up on the exit, get the better drive. And that's how you'd make a classic pass at turn 1 there. Great bit of driving. So the 33-year-old from Queensland takes the lead. Second in the 2015 Aussie Racing Cars Championship. And now back in his natural habitat, improved production. Whilst these guys are playing on the Commodore Smith is actually coming up onto them. Great car for sort of those nice big long straights, stretches its legs out. It's going to struggle up through these tighter sections, but if he can get close enough to get onto the back of these guys, he'll be keen to make a move. So it makes this so unique, isn't it? Stronger parts for certain cars. Down the inside. Kind of takes us back to the touring car days of old, where certain cars are strong in different parts of the circuit. Then you've got the big V8s that'll stretch out on the big long straights there. And it's great for these guys and girls to be out here racing in front of a big crowd. They do race a 6-round championship during our wet season down south. As we look at the replay, once again, Stoopman stalled and nowhere to go. And way the field just avoided the HQ Holdens. He's got the hand out to indicate, hey, I've stalled. And watch as he gets going here. Oh, it just almost gets clipped. You can see he was just looking in that centre mirror the whole time, just dreading what may have occurred. Great move by Adam Ubergang down the inside. He certainly was deep under brakes, and Playford did the right thing. He saw him there. He was probably a little bit too kind and gave him too much room. See him stab the throttle, just trying to get the traction going through the turn. So look at the battle now between the 40 and the 7. This is Holdsworth and Dempsey. Battle for 15th and 16th as we work lap number 3. Cam? Great battle going on track. Lee Holdsworth watching your old man race around. You're getting up in the seat here.
It's good fun watching him. Look at that blue-eyed monster there. He's just having a go. No, it's good to see him out there and you know, enjoying his own racing for once, because you know he spent my whole life watching. Oh, there's Mum having a look at the. She's usually on the Times or the radio. Yeah, so you know it's good to see him having a bit of a go himself.
And big Commodore Cup was a big part of your life. Matt Nolte was talking before about you and your brother running in it, but your father ran the category for a while too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He was the manager of the category for a few years. Not when I was running, because that would have been a bit rigged. But yeah, it was a good category, a really good category. You know, it was for me. You know, to come out of go-karts and going to Commodore Cup was the best thing. Having a tin top kind of car taught me about the judgment to other cars and that sort of thing. You can't see the wheels when you lock up like in a Formula Ford or a go-kart. So it set me up really well for development series. It's a shame the category's not still around, really.
Oh, well, mate, there's some great racing going on. I'll let you get back to the TV.
Thanks, mate.
He was second back in 2003 before his supercar career took off. Lee Holdsworth down in the pits. We just saw dramas for Barry Smith, though, while that was happening.
Yeah, something happened up there at turn 10. Not sure if there was another car involved. You can see there's a bit of smoke coming off it when he got going, so hopefully he can get back going. There's still enough laps under our belts. We might see a quick replay here.
Oh, at the moment, as he rolls across the top of the camera there at turn number 10. Did he do that on his own? Because there's no one around.
No, I think it's one of those corners. It's easy to sort of snag a rear brake on the way in. It's slightly downhill, and it's one of those corners you're trying to carry as much entry speed. It's an easy thing to do. We've seen it like this morning in Carrera Cup. We saw it yesterday with Jason Brighton V8 Supercars, so he's not alone in making that mistake there.
Here's some of the HQ racing going on right now. The Link name, very popular in this category. Gavin Thompson making this 3 wide. And it's a hotly contested little category up here. There's 2 or 3 guys that will argue all race long for this win.
Probably not the best move to swing back out wide and open up the inside there, but if he can, no, he's not going to be able to hang on that one. Probably made that a little bit too easy there for the number 76, but one of the things you see with the HQs here is it's the drafting battle down that big long straight. They don't have the horsepower of some of the lead cars, so it's all about trying to sort of position yourself for that run on the last lap. You don't want to be sort of leading the freight train of cars because you know on this big long straight you're going to lose out.
And one mistake in one of the corners here takes you forever to claw back.
It certainly does. And one thing that this sort of racing does teach these guys, it really teaches you to be smooth because, again, you don't have the horsepower to get you out of trouble. You can see there that lead car gets a little bit out of shape. You don't have the horsepower to make up for those little mistakes. You've got to be super smooth. Keep it straight.
That's Marian Banowski up in front there, the man affectionately known in the paddock as Scab, and he'll appreciate me saying that. That is his nickname down there amongst the fraternity here in the top end. Just understeered massively through turn number 6 and lets the field compress. Here comes the leader in the meantime.
And this is what you said earlier. This is all about sort of working your way through the traffic. The good thing for Adam Ubergang, he does have a bit of a break over the cars behind. He doesn't need to take any sort of risk. There's still 3 laps to go, so anything can happen here, but he really just needs to thread his way through this traffic. The good thing is he's caught them coming onto the straight. He's got the horsepower advantage, so this should be an easy manoeuvre for him.
So big margin right now, first to second as Ubergang slices his way through. 4 cars now between he and second place here, Tim Playford, as the rest of the field come on through. There is Bryce Forward. That's the car that Nick Halkitis used to race a couple of years ago. Halkitis these days running on the big sprint car oval on the backside of the circuit here. And Forward just getting laps and laps and laps. Here comes Smith on the charge after that spin at the top of turn number 10.
See, he's definitely got the horsepower advantage over these guys. Quick little replay here.
Well, this is Stootman. It's been a trying race, and he's pinched the left front going down into turn number 10. You've raced around here before. It's very easy to do in that part. The car gets light, doesn't it?
It certainly is. It's one of those corners where you're trying to sort of carry as much entry speed as you can, but because it's downhill, you need to carry the brake to load the nose of the car. So a front lock-up down there is something really easy to do, but he was able to get away with it this time.
Lots of blue flags and blue lights indicating the faster cars are coming through here. That's our second place car trying to slice past the 97 that runs back in 25th position right now.
And this is where sometimes the traffic will work for you. In other times, exactly like this for Playford, it's going to work against you. You can see that he can't sort of stretch the legs of the little RX3, and all the time whilst this is going on, Adam Ubergang is just simply extending that lead.
HQs just continue to race. They were old when I was young, and I'm getting older now.
You're showing your age now.
I am. I come past this packed corporate facility, improvements here to Hidden Valley Raceway. Every year we come up, this place looks beautiful, and again in 2017, looking great as we celebrate 20 years. Lap 7 of 8. Here comes Bryce Forward down the inside of the HQs. He runs back in 3rd position, but some 6 seconds behind Playford.
And you can see Smith's now about to get sort of held up by that sort of gaggle of the HQs there. Hopefully he can get past them on the run up to sort of turn 5. We can see Playford from our commentary box here firing it down the inside of some of the lap cars down into turn 5. I feel sorry for the flaggies. They're going to get RSI from waving the blue flags.
That started about 4 laps ago as well. Smith down the inside of Banowski, the first HQ Holdens in the field at the moment. On the charge, he runs back in 4th, but 16 seconds behind the leader, Adam Ubergang, who set the fastest lap of the race on lap number 3, a 1:16.873, to be nearly 8 seconds clear of Playford now. The 2 Mazda 808s put on a clinic here in the Improved Production Commodore Cup and HQs at Hidden Valley Raceway. Thompson getting the don't argue as the VZ Commodore comes through the field and just more and more traffic ahead.
The hard thing for these guys in the HQs, everyone's got to remember that these guys are out there having their own race within a race. So whilst they're trying to do the right thing and let those faster guys through, they also don't want to give up positions within their own race. So those guys are working hard to not only sort of make position themselves, but also do the right thing by the guys that are coming through that are in more of the outright classes.
What about this guy? He's just disappeared into the distance, up towards the top of turn number 5 for the final time. On the conventional number on the right-hand side, more you'd see in something in a stock car Brazil, maybe. Up to turn 6 he goes, quick tap of the brake. And down to 6. Be pretty much untouchable. That'll show you the margin. Second place just coming to the shot as he exits 6 and down to turn 7 for the final time.
He's certainly not letting off, though. They matched each other there in the first sector, so he's still pushing on. But as you said, the margin here is pretty safe from here on.
Through the left-hander he comes. Down to the final turn. One more car to clear. And Ubergang qualified on pole. He raced number one race number 1 this morning. Slides his way out the final turn. The margin was 7.5 seconds. It doesn't matter, because he's going to make it 2 from 2 in the Improved Production Commodore Cup and HQs. Give the win to Adam Ubergang. Made it fairly easy in the end. They cleared the lap traffic fairly quickly. Playford will get home for second. Bryce Forward will hold down third and win the Commodore Cup class by about 6 positions. David Ling will get home second in that class, back in 9th spot. There is a young man who returned home to Darwin to live this year after some stints on the Gold Coast and down in Melbourne. Here's the rest of the cars coming through. Peter Cassato and the Ford Escort is just going to hold down this position. Just holds down the position. Stoopman on the charge. In the end, they will finish back behind him after stalling and to start the race. That was good fun.
That was great fun. Great drive back from Stoopman there to come from basically P last to back to finish 7th.
So Ubergang from Playford. Forward in 3rd position, back to Smith, Salmon, Cassato, Stoopman back to 7th in the end there, ahead of champion David Ling and John Newman finishing in 10th position. Look at the margin back there, 50 seconds.